Welcome to the BVTV Network, coming to you from the UK studios of BizVision. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. Now, this is episode 2 in the BVTV Trilogy with customer engagement expert Matt Doc Champagne. Hello again, Matt.
Great to see you again, Malcolm.
I've said that BVTV Trilogy, nearly 1,000 times in the last 2 years. And I still sometimes stumble over it. It's like everything we stumble over, isn't it? Because we get too familiar with things, don't we?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's where I think people also get a bit too familiar with their surveys. They think, why change it? We're getting all the answers we want, but they're not probably getting the right answers. Matt, you've received great acclaim with your 9 principles of customer feedback. I know we only have a little time in this episode, but can you give us a flavor of those 9 principles and why they work?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we referred to a couple of them already. We talked about asking the right questions in the right way. That's actually principle 2. And we mentioned principle 3, which we talked about the autopsy approach, asking your audience while it matters. And we also talked a little bit about principle 7, which is closing the loop, sharing results with your audience in a timely manner so that they know that their voice was heard and what they said made a difference. But I do have an example I can give that would kind of incorporate all these from the travel industry, if you want to hear that, Malcolm.
Yeah, please.
Sure. All right. So to incorporate all these, to illustrate it, I had done some work with the cruise line industry some years back, but then March 2020 came along and I got the emergency call on a Saturday from the Cruise Line Association saying on Monday, the cruise lines are shutting down. And we have 54,000 travel agents worldwide who will now have no income. They have nothing to sell as of Monday. How do we keep those members? So they wanted to have survey conversation with their audience. So that's what we did. Reached out to these 54,000 travel agents and asked them the right questions in the right way, shared some results with them, showed them that what they said was heard. So on Monday, we asked them a couple of questions, how are you going to keep your whales and what's working for you, what's not working for you. On Friday, shared the results. Here's what everybody else is saying. Here's the top 5 ideas other travel agents had. Just thought you'd like to know. Yeah. And Monday, did it again, shared on Friday. And the response rate went up and up and up, which people look at the data, they say that must be fake because don't people get survey fatigue? I said, no. I mean, if you do it wrong, yes, they get survey fatigue, but not when you're sharing the results. Why would they stop the conversation? Because they're hearing what others just like them are doing to make it through this difficult time.
Yeah, I love that, Matt, that you just talked about there, the sharing of the results, because how many surveys do you get feeding? Or I get loads from Adobe and people like that. And they say, we'll send you the results. You never do get anything out of it. So you don't learn anything yourself, do you? So having run travel agents as well, I can totally see the value of that, to be able to know what else is happening, who else and what they're doing. What your competitors or what your sort of peers are doing must be invaluable in that case. So I congratulate you on that. It's that feedback, isn't it?
Exactly. And the response from the travel agents, after we had done this for 7 weeks, at the end of 7 weeks, we paused it and the travel agents were all writing, hey, where's the next survey? Right. Like, what a strange thing, asking for the survey. And we asked them, well, why do you want the survey? And they said, because I'm making a difference. They said, I feel like I'm making an impact on the cruise line. You're asking me about protocols we should put into place to get the cruise lines back on board. I hear what other travel agents like me are working, what's not working. I feel like I made a difference. And I wanted to tell them what you really did was you pushed a radio button with your mouse and then you hit submit. That's what you really did. But in their mind, because we closed the loop, they felt like they're making a difference. And they were, because their results were actually being shared with 95% of the cruise lines who were using their data, because the travel agents are their best customer and they knew what cruise lines needed. And the cruise lines then posted those results. So there was this sense from everyone that together they were making a difference. That's a really different jump to what a survey is compared to, the typical survey.
Yeah, but obviously a lot to do with your skill set there, where you interpreted the results, because people may publish results, but it's the interpretation that's important, isn't it?
Yes, and from the beginning, they have to be the right questions in the right way. You talked about the survey playbook. In that book, I put in there the 25 mistakes that are made on most every survey. So if you can just not make those errors, your results will be interpretable and meaningful and actually represent. That's a big problem, is the representation. If you're only hearing from the people who are upset or the people who are really happy, that's not really representing your data. But in the case of the travel agents, we were hearing from 65, 70% on every survey. So we had confidence. Yes, this is actually what travel agents in general are thinking.
Yeah. Look, we've got an extra minute, so give us another principle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Purpose is principle one. Maybe we'll start there. Every survey, every ask of your people, your members, your patients, your clients, needs to have a single purpose. So that's what we did with the travel agents. The purpose of these two questions is to find out what's working for you. But too often we get these long rambling surveys where we think we know the purpose. They say, "Oh, Malcolm, you just bought a vehicle. We want to ask you about your experience." And then they start asking you, "So how much money do you make? And are you the decision-making authority in your company?" And then we're like, "Uh-oh, okay, now you lost me," because you're trying to put too many purposes into this. It's a conversation. Just ask a question or two, let them respond, and then ask some more questions. You always have time to talk to your people, but that's the big mistake, is everyone puts too many purposes because everybody in every department wants to ask, because you're only going to get one chance to talk to your people, right? So you have to, pile all the questions in. That's just a bad practice. You'll get low response rates and poor information.
I do get, as you say, lots of surveys. We all get lots of surveys, and some of them are just totally irrelevant to me. Totally irrelevant, and I discard it, and then people keep chasing you and say, "Well, you haven't filled in our survey," and you're thinking, well, apart from it not being relevant to me, you're also saying it'll only take you 15 minutes. Well, 15 minutes is a lot of money and a lot of time, as we well know on these sort of episodes, Matt, isn't it?
Yes, and you actually spoke to, I believe that's probably lesson 1 or lesson 2 in the survey playbook. Make sure your questions are relevant. Revisit your surveys and ask yourself, does this really matter to you? Does it matter to the person? Could you have got this information in any other way? Do they expect you to already know this? You don't want to waste people's time. Today, we just don't have the time, and to ask irrelevant, rambling questions, it just turns off your audience. You want to have that conversation, just a couple of important questions that can help you and can help your audience as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Matt. Now, let's give viewers and listeners details of your URL, your website address, which obviously viewers you can see on the screen behind me. But for listeners, let me spell it out to you. It's all the W's dot Matthew with a double T, MatthewChampagne.com. Now, Matt, you've got a special extra URL for us for details of your 9 principles, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely. Use that same URL, but then put /BVTV, of course. And when you add that suffix there, BVTV, there will be the 9 principles of customer feedback that we've been discussing. You can just click the button and it will just download. You don't have to provide your name or email. It's just available free to all your listeners. Excellent.
Thank you, Matt. And obviously, we've put that extra URL along the bottom of the screen. But just to remind your listeners, it's all the W's, MatthewChampagne.com/BVTV. Matt's book is called The Survey Playbook, and it's available at Amazon and on Kindle. Coming up soon is episode 3, the final one in this Doc Champagne trilogy. We're living in a truly altered, uncertain and suspicious world where new technology is playing a big part in attracting, engaging, selling and retaining customers. An ideal subject for a continuing chat with Matt. Should we go there, Matt?
I don't know. We're going to upset a lot of digital marketers with some cold, hard truths, but let's go there anyway.